Okay, so we'll make a start, and just want to say welcome to all our delegates from around the world. We have people from down under and across the UK and Ireland as well today. So we will try and keep to time, especially for those that it's almost bedtime. So, but no, great. Well, thank you all for joining us today. For our webinar today with Debbie Spooner from Spotlight Reporting. And the title, as you can see, is Do You Have the Balls to Be a Business Advisor? And Debbie and I have been talking lots, and we just, from one thing from another, and we came up with this crazy title. So, but no, thank you, Debbie. Thank you for joining us this morning, and to our latest webinar that we're hosting sort of every month. So if you want to, a little bit about me, I'm Vipul Sheth. I'm a chartered accountant, chartered tax advisor, and I'm MD of AdvanceTrack. We're an outsourcing business, and so I won't talk too much about me, and we'll just move on to the next piece, and that is house rules. First, we will be recording this for those that are unable to or want to come back and listen to it. It will be on our website, and we'll be asking questions today. It will be a conversation, and but if you've got any questions that you want answered, please use the question and answer section on the webinar software. So and if Debbie, if you want to talk a little bit about yourself, kind of what you do, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, perfect. So hello everybody. Welcome. I'm just going to turn my screen. Well, I'll stay here just so you can see and hear a little bit about me. So welcome. Thank you for joining us. The simple answer is you do all have the balls and the courage to be business advisors. I believe that's why you've joined us this morning, to either get some new hints and tips, or just to validate a lot of what you're doing. My background, I've worked in the accounting sphere for now 20 years. I started young. I started very early in the days, if anybody.
Oh, Debbie, can you speak up a bit? Someone's just asking.
Yes, I will come. Hello, can you hear me now? Is that better?
So hopefully that's better. Just let me know on the Q&A if it's still a problem, but thanks for flagging that. Yeah, that's better.
Thank you. Okay, well, hopefully you missed my years of experience. And like I say, I started young. So I started back in the days of, if anybody can remember, Pegasus software, which is where I met the formidable Gary Turner. From there, I joined Xero UK as it launched into Xero back in 2009, 2010. So my experience of working in the cloud and working with accountants has been very long and varied, and I've been with you all on the journey and all of the disruption that you guys have experienced over the last 9-10 years, and it's been great to witness so many people experience, embrace the changes, and the changes aren't stopping. We've got Making Tax Digital, we've got all of these other things, and so with the advance of cloud accounting, obviously it enables you guys to look at how you can develop your services and actually give more for your clients, and all the juicy fun stuff that you can do to help grow businesses. And that's my role here at Spotlight. as the business advisor, or the customer success specialist, I work with all of our Super VCFO partners who are launching into giving more value-added services, consultancy, and business advisory work for their clients. And it's a great ride. It's very fun, and helping you navigate through similar challenges that you may have experienced when you initially started to embrace the cloud and the cloud accounting. So years of experience. I love accountants, and I love what you do and how you can actually help to transform people's lives, and Vipul and I will be touching on that a little bit later on.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just one thing before we move on to the next piece, Debbie, and I'm going to drop this on you because I've had this happen to me as well. And tell the audience something that no one would really know.
About me? Or...
Yeah, yes.
Oh, gosh.
I told you, I'm dropping it in. So it's...
Oh, well, okay. Oh no, some people do know it.
They probably know lots, but you
okay.
just something that.
So if you don't, so people who may not know me, I am also a qualified yoga teacher. So part of which is a little bit hippie and weird and out there for some people, but part of my role in yoga, and which is why I guess I love what I do with accountants, is that we're all about embracing change, and it's about the mindset, and about realizing that you actually can do more than you think. And that's one of the things that I work with when I'm leading my yoga groups.
Brilliant.
I've got about 3-4 classes that I run a week. So yeah, as much as I can be out there, I also like to take things in a nice, calm and positive, you can do this approach. So yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. So thank you. No, that's good. That's good. Right. So where should we go with this then, Debbie?
Start with your poll.
Yes. Okay. So let's go. So I'm going to, I know many of you sort of filled it in, but just so we get a straw poll of the people that are in the web room at the minute, how widely cloud's used in the firm that you're working with. And I'll give it about another 10 seconds and then we'll close the poll. Right, fantastic. That's great. Okay, so I'm going to share the results here, and that is 58% of the poll are in the cloud and using it widely, and 42% are on the journey, and no one in the room is saying they're not using cloud, which is great.
Brilliant. Really
pleasing to see that that's the type of delegate in the room today.
Yeah, brilliant. And you know, it's interesting to understand as well from you guys, if you want to pop it in a chat or anything like that, you know, where you are at the start of the journey, and you know, it's just great to understand how you're getting on with it and how your team are embracing it, and the differences that the cloud has made to your life already and the challenges that you've found. So no, that's brilliant. Lovely. It's here, you know, it's not a new thing anymore. So a little bit about Spotlight and Spotlight reporting. What Spotlight was founded by Richard Francis. He is an accountant with over 25 years experience as an accountant, and he was one of the very first Xero partners in New Zealand when Xero launched all those many years ago. So from what he found from using Spotlight was from using Xero was that it actually opened up, as you guys are all finding now, opposite, you know, more branches of revenue. And he it enabled him to actually get out of the compliance and the tax and actually start to have really great conversations with his clients. And his firm, Francis Consultancy, lends it to it. They were always about consultancy over and above the compliance work. So Spotlight was born out of zero, and out of finding an opportunity and a need, enabling them to scale the delivery of the management reports that they could generate, spending more time with the clients as opposed to spending time on building the reports. We were founded in 2010. We have been in the UK now since 2014. We have a global presence. We have offices in New Zealand, Australia, America, Canada, and also South Africa. And we're also going into the Asia soon. So we've been around for a long time. We are, again, like Xero, we are founded by accountants. So we have a great wealth of accountants who actually work with us, who are with you. And our premise at Spotlight as well is it's not about the tool solely. The tool is the enabler to the conversation. And what we do here at Spotlight is a really strong relationship with our partners in helping them to understand how and when they can roll out the tool and use it for their best advantage for their team and for their clients. So we take, you know, a very 360 holistic approach with Spotlight.
Great. And yeah, we've got one of the panelists is, one of the delegates says 100% cloud-based. But just in terms of what you were saying there, Debbie, it's also to say that it's not that firms don't do compliance, no, but that's not their reason for existing. And I think there's a key difference between a compliance accountant and an advisory accountant.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's helping you, you know, if you want to, Spotlight will help you make that move over and offer in those additional services and that advisory branch, or, you know, completely transform into advisory. You may want to have a bit of both, but you know, if you want to completely transform, yeah. Great.
Okay, fantastic. So we'll talk more about that as we go through. So so in terms of what you're seeing in the firms that work with you, or, you know, what we see in the firms that work with us, is there's a certain mindset. Mm-hmm. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It is, you know, you guys who are on this webinar this morning, you're passionate about wanting to help your clients and wanting to deliver more. And I think if you weren't, you wouldn't be on this webinar. So there is a certain mindset, and what we do at Spotlight is we help you to you know, scale and make those step changes, eat the elephant one bite at a time, really, into how you're not going to transform overnight. It does take time, and what that comes with is, it comes with, you know, engaging your team, engaging your clients in the right way. So like we said, I've been with you through this disruption of cloud. So if you think back to, you know, whether it was 5 years ago or whether it was a year ago, or even if it was a few months ago, when you sort of moved to cloud, people are not great with change. You know, and it's like, what does this mean for me? What does this mean for my role? And so on and so forth. So then when you're bringing in the advisory area of the business, which some of your team may never have actually had experience of, you know, or, you know, they've never had to go out and have that conversation with the client. They may have actually experienced advisory to them, but if they've not actually experienced it, it seems like this word, and it is a buzzword at the moment, and it's kind of like, well, what does advisory mean? And it comes down to relationships, and it comes down to conversations and understanding what a person wants, what a person needs, and how you can help them. So I kind of liken it to, and we'll talk about this a little bit more depth, but it's like, you know, you can go to a doctor's, and you can go to a doctor and there can be one and he'll just write you a prescription for a pill. There will be another doctor that you go to who will actually look at the root cause and help work on that rather than just treating the symptoms. They'll get down to the deeper level. And I think this is what we're talking about, and hopefully you guys are looking to do with your clients, is to actually get to that deeper level of relationships and to help them grow their business. Maybe they want to completely change their lifestyle, maybe they want to you know, sell their business and things like that, but they don't have the visibility, and they're confused and they're lost, and they're just crying out for help. So many of the UK business owners are crying out for this help and advice over and above, you know, where can I be saving tax? You know, it's like, what else can I do?
And Debbie, do you think that now having access to tools like yours and others in the cloud, whereas previously perhaps it was very much partner-led, there's now the opportunity for people in the levels below to have that greater engagement with clients, which perhaps they haven't had the exposure to in the past?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is the challenge of, you know, what are you learning when you're going through your qualifications? I can see some of the people that we have got on here today, I know they're already great mentors for their team, and that is the thing. It's like, use the tool rather than the team being, you know, use Spotlight as the tool rather than the team being caught up in Excel and the macros and the formulas and getting caught in a rabbit warren around that. And, you know, a management report may be taking, you know, a couple of hours, whereas within Spotlight, a management report can be done in 45 minutes. And then the value of the time, you know, the value to the client and to your business is then spent when you're with the client and understanding them. So it is as well about, you know, you as the partner. We've talked about this, you know, as a business owner, be it you who's leading your practice firm or your clients or so on and so forth, how many times have you heard them say, there's only one of me, can't do it all, you know? And so a fundamental thing in moving to the business advisory, and I work with in my role as the customer success business coach area, is helping to identify who in the team would like to, you know, upskill themselves and grow as individuals as well, to be offering these more tools. And it is down to you as the partner and the practice leader to help you know, your team members understand this, because obviously they're going to be the partners of the future as well.
And would you also say it's about the consistency of
yeah.
No, I mean, it's interesting you talked about spreadsheets there. I don't know if you saw the Sunday papers, but there's for those in the UK, they'll know this, not everybody's in the UK, but a company called Bargain Booze went bust recently. And the reason for that is somebody made a mistake on a spreadsheet and forgot to include the fact that they had to pay £30 million of duty and VAT to Her Majesty's government. And it just goes to show how having a tool that actually takes the raw data out of the accounting system and manipulates it can make a difference to the way it will warn you of stuff sooner rather than later. Yeah,
absolutely. And consistency in anything in life, if you are consistent at it, you will get better at it. And repetition is the mother of skill. So, you know, with all these things, you know, you're going to have challenges. You've had challenges in coming onto the cloud and embracing whichever cloud solution it is, you know, and getting that right and getting that embedded. So it's absolutely the same thing when we're talking about rolling out into your advisory area. It's practice, it's consistency, and consistency, and consistency. And, you know, you've touched on the Excel data. The Spotlight report will only be as good as the data that is coming in. So, and this is where, you know, with AdvanceTrack and what you guys can offer, but it's about being consistent in the checks and being consistent in those first steps before the data comes into the tool, before the data comes into Spotlight, and you're generating all these great visuals and reports that your clients will engage with on a stronger level, as opposed to, you know, I'm number blind, I don't engage with an Excel spreadsheet.
Well,
I engage with visuals. So I was going to say, talk about the data and the process, and, you know, we'll talk about how we work to ensure that the data is right for the
Yeah.
final output.
It's interesting. I was having a conversation with our CTO about, and this may seem mad and how it relates to accounting, but a surgeon, would you trust a surgeon who has a checklist to be operating on you? And this is, they're asking surgeons, would you trust a surgeon who has a checklist or one that doesn't? And almost without fail, they all said, yes, we trust the surgeon who has a checklist, because he makes sure that you didn't leave the knife inside the body, because they've done a check before they stitched you back up. And and it's a bit like that in what we do, and getting that consistency. And what I've put on, this slide's really about what's the process of getting the data in, how you process it, and then how consistent are you in terms of using that data to then advise the your clients.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's like the data, and it's the I'm a systems and process junkie, so having everything lined up and planned and defining it, it's understand it. So know that the bank rules are set up in Xero, and all of those areas, if you're using receipt bank or auto entry, the areas that you need in that before we go into the next stage within the reports. And it's also vital for you guys, and you want to go into talking to your client with all of your tools, because then you may have your agenda set and the meeting set of what you're going to talk about. That there's going to be a curveball. So if you, as the professional and the expert in accounting, that's what they've employed you for, to go in and go, right, these numbers are correct. So whatever the client is then now going to throw at me in this meeting that I have not been able to prepare for, that variant, at least I'm going to be able to give them strong advice and guidance, because I know that all my due diligence has been done ahead of time to give them that support and the guidance that they need. And so I'm not going to leave the scalpel in the body.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, it's about that consistency. And if you think of all the big firms and the way they manage relationships, I still remember everyone was down the pub and said, Vipul, we're really sad you're leaving. It's Friday night, but on Monday morning it was as if I never existed. And the clients hopefully never saw any change in the relationship. And I think that's the way you've always got to run your business, that actually if you have a process and you have the people who understand that, your clients will be wowed every day.
Yeah, it's about not having that single point of failure.
Yeah.
So with Spotlight and looking at this, what the feedback that we have had is that over half of our subscribers in year one have experienced a 10 to 50% advisory free growth, and that's because they have been able to be more consistent in their delivery. They have been able to use the tool to scale up what they are delivering. And they've been actually, I don't know if anybody on here follows me on Twitter or anything like that, but I tweeted out the other day, and it's a quote from Jim Rohn, and it's this thing about take your mindset away from pay.
Oh, Debbie, can you speak up, please?
Sorry, I've just moved back, haven't I? So it's about taking the mind, when you come into working with Spotlight, what we enable you to do and what we enable you and your team to do is, rather than being paid by the hour, it's more about being paid then for the value that you are given. And if you're able to have more valuable conversations with your clients, as opposed to be looking at their data and getting down into the deep with it, if you're able to actually take this information and go out and have those conversations, you're going to find that you're actually changing how you're being able to monetize and your monthly fees or your retainers, and it will be much more around the value that you're giving as opposed to the timesheets and opposed to the time that is spent. And I think this is where everyone wants to go to, and this is where our subscribers who have been with Spotlight now, this is where they're actually starting to feel and see the change.
Right. And I mean, I know we've had this conversation many a time, Debbie, that, that there's one person who had a huge influence on me becoming an accountant.
Oh, yeah.
And, I just think in this cloud world, he would be just thinking, wow, fantastic,
Yeah.
But, to give you an example, back in the 1980s, and this is a man who retired at the age of 55 as a professional chartered accountant. He saw value billing back then, and it was all about changing people's lives.
Yeah.
And he understood that was the value that he was able to give. Yeah. And having spent a summer in his office, I could really appreciate that actually he used his people to provide the numbers which you've described, that you're confident that they stand up to scrutiny. And therefore, when there is that curveball, one, he could deal with it, but two, he actually used that information to really change what people were doing and what his clients were doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you said it. So the chap that Vipul's talking about was an accountant called David, and we've had similar conversations. My father, when he had his own business and growing up, both of your accountant David, or not your accountant, but and my father's accountant, that they were crucial in like us as growing up. Like you said yourself, we had great holidays, and that's the impact that being a great business advisor you can have on the business. I have a friend, and her husband owns his own business. So if anybody's heard this story before, but he's in his mid to late 40s. He builds exhibition stands. They've got 2 teenage kids. He works all the hours that God sends. And he is the single point of failure in that business. So if he is suddenly ill or whatever, is he going to be able to get and build those stands? And it's vital that he's now having conversations with his accountant around, how he can expand his team, when he's going to be able to sell the business, and when actually he can be running the business and working on the business, as opposed to, going to Excel or Manchester or, out to Europe to build these stands. So this is what clients are looking for. This is what they want. And I think a lot of you guys are looking to deliver this and are already delivering it. And what we're enabling you to do is to actually increase how you're delivering it and to have those valuable conversations with your clients, because they do want it. People are lost and they want to know how they can grow their business and live the life that they want to live. You guys and yourself, you've all set up your own individual firms and practices, and it's because you wanted the freedom. Most people set up their own business because they want the freedom, that they want to achieve something in life, whatever that be, whether it be to put your kids into good schools, whether it be to get the mortgage down, whether it be to grow a business, or whether it's actually, I've got a business, but I don't work. I'm able to go out and do much more fun things with my time, or create multiple businesses. So this is what we're looking about. It's about, finding the opportunities in the challenges that we're currently facing in the fields and in the marketplace. And what I have experienced with working with partners over the years is they get caught in this vicious circle. And this is true of business, and this is true of life as well. So, we have a problem, we then get a bit insecure about it. Oh, we're confused, where do we go? Do I use this tool? Do I need more people? Do I need this? We seek for guidance, looking for the answer, and we can get a bit distressed, and we may give up, or we may look to sort of hold on and it's just, when does the problem get resolved? And this is when you're looking at having the opportunity. So you as the business owner, you may go, right, this is great. What we're going to do is we're going on the cloud, and now we're going to bring in a tool that's going to enable us to enhance our advisory. And then you might find that actually it's your team who then are causing more of the challenges, because they're unsure and it's a new landscape for them. So it's making sure, and this is a fundamental part of what my role is here at Spotlight, is making sure that you have got that support, so that, you know, we can help you through all of the stages as you're going and changing. And I probably imagine that there are a few wry smiles when you think back to like when you first implemented your cloud solution, or whichever one it is. It's, oh God, you know, it's the next one and it's the next one. But look back at where you've come from and look at what you've already achieved. And it's exactly the same thing that we will help you do at Spotlight when you're looking to transform and bring in the advisory. You know, we are not just a cloud tool. We are much more than that in how we support and in how we help you deliver your goals and what you're looking for with the team, from education and right through. So we said that victory comes from finding opportunities and problems. And if anybody's not read it, do read Sun Tzu, the Art of War. It is an ancient text, but it's all these things that we're coming against and coming up within the industry as it stands at the moment. You know, Vipul, you found an opportunity. You know, Richard himself, with being a zero partner, it was like, oh, I need, the opportunity is now for me to create a way in which I can give much more value add, and hence that was why Spotlight was born. So one of the things that we do at Spotlight is we help you with like your design thinking. So I work with our Super VCFO partners to identify who in the team is going to be involved, who is going to be your Spotlight champions. We help identify the low-hanging fruits and the clients. We do take into consideration business as usual and all of those areas. So we do a step growth, you know, a step change to help you run through the change management in your team as you're going through your transformation into business advisory. So it's over a 12-month period, and we recognise, you know, it's taking time. Sometimes things might launch a bit quicker, and sometimes, you know, there may be some hurdles that come across, but it's all about discovering and defining in the first stages what you're going to be rolling out and when.
And Debbie, in that phase, is this about segmenting your clients or identifying your team members who can actually run with it in phase one, let's say?
Yeah, absolutely. So we get the education at the early stages. We identify who the focus group is. So it may be just a small team of 3 or 4 people. We identify the low-hanging fruit clients that you can roll this out with. So in the first 3 to 6 months, you know, well, in the first 3 months, it's education, get that team on board, help think about how you're positioning this with the clients, understanding where you want to be in 12 months' time, and, you know, laying the foundations for this. Then start, you know, just enhancing on that and looking at how, you know, you can use more clients. There may be some clients who are more suitable for a dashboard in the early stages because they may not be big enough, and that's absolutely fine. But again, this is the thing about consistency. We want to help you understand that across your suite of clients, you know, they can all receive their reports in a, you know, in a visual format in some way. So it's a real nice gentle step change. We also talk about how you can, you know, market this, how you can market the change within your practice, you know, and just keep growing. So it's the whole, you know, we're not just going, here's the tool and you're a business advisor and you know what to do. It's a much deeper holistic 360 view of your business and where you're wanting to take it.
And in terms of that, do you have any statistics on, as an example, for existing clients who've moved from, let's say, either no advisory or little advisory, or ad hoc is probably, you know, more reactionary. How much of an impact has it had on those clients in terms of fees, as an example?
Oh gosh, I've had so
just a range. I'm not saying, oh, everyone's going to get this, but you know, there must be something that is measurable that makes people come back and use it on a more consistent basis.
So I've had one client within the first 6 months of working with them and helping them to implement Spotlight and to help them run through this transition. And at the 6-month journey, I thought we were just going to start talking about their case studies and their marketing and things like that. And they'd already seen an incremental growth. And it was like, yeah, we've got X amount of clients on. And, you know, our monthly revenue has increased. You know, we're increasing our monthly revenue by 30% already. You know, they were being fearless. They were going out with their forecasts. They were going out with the management reports. And again, part of it was they were being consistent in the delivery. They were being consistent in going out and saying, this is how I'm presenting my management reports to you. This is how we're going to do. Now let's talk about the business. There's also, I'm doing a webinar with him next week on the 25th of April. One of our partners, Deborah Meaden of Dragon's Den fame, now regularly receives a Spotlight report because his client was on Dragon's Den back in the summer, and it was aired on the 10th of September last year. And because the client, through getting their management information in a visual format in Spotlight, and because the accountant was so diligent in his advisory and support of them, they were able to get one of the single largest investments in Dragon's Den history. And when they were on the show, they knew their numbers inside and out. There was no gaps. They didn't, you know, falter. They were absolutely able to say, this is our business where it is, this is where we want to be now. And they were able to instill that confidence in a real heavy hitter investor. So these are the change, and I mean, the guys who got the investment, they're young. They're 24, 27. So it's also, you know, and it was a small startup company. So when we're talking about this, it's not, you know, always the bigger firms. It's like you can use Spotlight at whatever stage of the journey your client is on within their business.
Great. And in terms of staff retention, does it help firms because the guys and girls are doing more interesting work?
Yeah, they're loving it so much more. And like one of my ladies, her client is just like, right, I am owning the dashboards, I'm owning the templates. And that is the beauty with Spotlight, because you can set up templates, so you can have, right, you know, this is the design, it's going to have a KPI, you're going to have your profit and loss, your revenue and your cash, and we're always going to have a KPI scorecard, we're always going to have this. That is your base template that you can run with as a firm and say, this is our standard one, you know, and then if the client wants more, it can always grow and develop as the client wants more. So one of our firm's ladies, the Spotlight champion she's just absolutely buzzing, and it is around, you know, she has empowered her team to enable them to get to grips with it and to practice, and you know, practice does make perfect. There was different people come up with different numbers around this. You know, some people say, oh, it takes 21 days to form a new habit. I've looked into it a little bit more, and there's an area, there's a train of thought where it actually can take 2 months for a new behavior or a new habit to actually become automatic. So, and that is fundamental in what we're doing when we're working with you and your team. In that first 3 months, we're putting you in there and saying, you know, do this, you know, get used to making dummy reports, you know, and get used to having those conversations. So if you think of it in the same line of, you know, understanding how the tool will work with you and get into grips with that, then by the same token, you know, take that same thing of, okay, maybe take 2 to 3 months to get the perfect report for the client based on what their wants and needs are as well, and what they want to see. So we'll start at this level, and then as the relationship grows and the trust grows, because it doesn't happen overnight, you know, you're saying like talking to doctors and different things. If we think as consumers and the relationships that we have with different industries and providers, you know, you go back and think how long it took you to trust them and then to build that relationship and to emotionally buy into it. So it's also that thing that we understand it is time thing that you do have to consider. And this is, you know, where with Spotlight we fully understand it, in that, you know, you guys are being massively courageous in how, you know, you're running with the changes that are happening within the accounting industry and that have happened. And it is a lot of time, and you are getting like, oh God, it's the next thing, it's making tax digital, or, you know, auto enrollment, you know, they just keep coming over, and it's just about taking that time and know that you're moving in the right direction, that we work with you. So we're about helping you make, you know, it's those 1% marginal gains, isn't it? You know, it's the British Olympic cycling team and all of these things, about making incremental improvements within your firm, and Spotlight helping you to do those. So, you know, rather than thinking, God, I've got to do it all at once and all of my clients have got to be on, we're like, no, do it as a nice step change growth.
Okay. I mean, you know, we're very focused on systems and process.
Yeah.
How important is it in terms of, because to make the best use of Spotlight, or, you know, any of the advisory tools that are out there, what would be your advice to any firm in terms of putting those systems and processes in place?
I say set fire to them. Look, there's my little thing. So set fire to your old ways and light a match under the new ones, pretty much. So as I said, systems and processes. My background, where Zero was, I was the sales operations manager as well, and things. So I've already alluded to you, I am a systems and process junkie. So review your current systems and processes. You know, where have you got checklists? Not all of them will need to be changed. They may just need to be improved slightly. So it's go and have a look and say, right, well, what are we doing now? And where can we make to increase our revenue and our profitability, you know, and to maximize on our value and time? Where can we make those 1% changes? So looking for the solutions and streamlining and scaling for growth. Those are the things, you know, having people who are in and being able to input the data and monitor the data. Be realistic about your expectations. So recognize that, firstly, expectations are the foundation of disappointment. So give yourself and others grace to evolve, you know, and focus on what is important versus what needs to be done. We're all fall foul of this, but, you know, I'll put my hands up as well. It's like, oh yeah, I just need to do that. I just need to do that. Is what you're needing to do important? So have that healthy balance. I would say business as usual will run. There will always be something that comes in the way. But if you are committed to making this change to a business advisor, then really be clear on what is important and have that healthy balance there of working on what is important. Be realistic about your time. Have deadlines to work to. We can all say, you know, oh, I'll do that. And then if you leave the deadline open, does it ever get done? So be realistic about the time that you have and just set mini milestones. You know, like this month, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that all of our clients are, you know, their bank rules are set up, you know, and they're absolutely neat. Then all of the clients, we're going to have everything set up in receipt bank. Whatever it is that you need to ensure is done in the data before it's coming through, so that when it comes to the end of the month and you're thinking about doing a management report, you're not having to go back and tidy things up. Think about what you can do at the early stages to get it right. And this comes in with the foundations. So set those clear change management processes in place for all involved, both for the tools and the mindset of the team, so that they come with you on the journey. You know, there have been people, you know, if you're coming in and saying, okay, well, we're cloud, but we've still got our old server-based mindset, that's going to be a challenge. So you might want to look at, you know, what's in the office, how are the team, you know, what are you asking your team to, I know it sounds really silly, but, you know, what are the team wearing when they come into work and things like that. So the foundations of the change in the business are more than just in and around the tools. It is absolutely around the mindset. And we also can help, you know, reduce that fear and actually increase empowerment within your team. And then with implementation, again, this is, you know, the same. take it in bite-sized chunks. I have worked with people they've gone, right, I'm putting this cloud solution in and this cloud solution in and this cloud solution in, and they're all coming in on Wednesday. And it's like, oh, okie dokie. You know, it's, one of them will fall over. You're all amazing people. You know, but one will fall over if you know, if all of those things are being put in at certain times and you've got the different teams to run with them, then that's absolutely fine. But again, go back and look at what is important. So if the first thing is your onboarding tool, then go back and look at that. You know, whichever one it is, join up the dots, and also don't be a magpie. You know, be like, oh well, I'm going to put in this tool. Oh no, that's the new shiny thing. Find the tool that works for you, and the tool that works for you right now, you know, it may work for you and work for you forever. There may be, you know, you may be, like say, continually evaluating it, but find that right tool rather than going, oh, this one, that one, because as well, that will rock your foundations of your team, because there'll just be too much disruption. And then with relationships, so as I've already alluded to, it takes time, and trust and understanding. It takes time to build, and it can be lost in a heartbeat. So seek out your team members and clients who align with your values, who buy into your why. Set out with clear roles and responsibilities for your team members. You know, I've had a lot of people when they're coming into changing into advisory where, you know, it's like, oh, I can't get the team on board. Set a KPI around it, set some incentives around it, you know, get them on board and get them challenging. I've had great feedback from a client who actually said, my client is challenging me to be better, you know, and that is great. It's like the clients are now pushing them and wanting more. So embrace the challenges and keep looking at ways that you can raise opportunities and surprise and delight, and just don't take anything or anyone actually for granted. And then execution, so we've talked on it, it's consistency with quality and delivery of service. We can help you do that with the templated charts, which are a basis, you know, you can generate specific metrics in Spotlight, you know, SaaS, consulting, agencies. So be consistent with this, work with your team and your clients to deliver the right strategy of support. And then I would just say, you know, don't stop moving. You know, once you know, keep evaluating and keep looking at where you can make those marginal gains. A client may come in and they're at a certain level of service. Be aware of where you can be offering them more. None of us thought we wanted to pay £600 to £1,000 for a blooming mobile phone 10 years ago, but we do we do now.
Yeah.
And that's because Apple or other smartphones are available, but that's because they're still keep improving it. The fundamentals of it are there, but they are still keep improving and showing us that there's more that they can give us, you know, and value that they can add to us. So, you know, think of it in those ways. I don't know, Vipul, I'm just going on one now. So I think you know, it's I really kind of live and breathe all of this, because it's all about change, and it's about taking the team on the journey. You know, we see it, you see it. You know, adopting cloud is a massive step change for businesses that have, I guess, before cloud or software generally came along, could, I wouldn't say get away with, but they could hide behind their computers. But now, just the way the world is, people's expectations are very, very different. You know, you talked about the 20-something owners of that business that got the funding. Yeah.
Their expectations would have been that they get financial results on their phone.
Yeah.
Because that's the way they live their life. They wouldn't expect to receive something in the post.
No.
Or on an email even. They would have expected something in a format that they can read and understand very readily on their phone. And I think understanding that change, and just people, you know, when you order something online, if it's not delivered in 24, 48 hours, it's like, where's this thing that I've ordered?
Yeah, I expect my bank, you know, you've got Monzo Bank and you know, and then things like that. I expect my bank to update immediately when I spend some money. And you know, and with Monzo, it actually even shows, good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. Thankfully, my husband doesn't have a Monzo account, but you know, it shows where it shows where the lion's share of my spend is, and I am a shareholder of Next. But that's okay. You know, it's those things, and we are all consumers. So you again think about, when we're talking about business advisory, it is about the relationships. Think about the great relationships that you've had maybe when you're booking a holiday, or like say coming back to the doctor's surgery analogy and things like that, the things that have turned you on and the things that have turned you off. And I would also say, and this came around with one of our partners as well, about these assumptions and taking things for granted. So don't assume that because somebody isn't a young 24-year-old, that they would not want this same level of service and that they won't be switched on to it. You know, there are, you know, older business owners who still are that tech savvy, who are embracing change and who will challenge you just as much as it is the youngsters, because they may be seeing it from, you know, hey, they're a consumer anyway, you know, let's say they're ordering things online and getting those things. So I think as well, it's as much for you, and this is a strong one, but when you're changing into advisory, really look at your clients, really look at the ones who recognize the value of what you are doing and using to help them receive the results that they want. So, you know, it's also about getting them to embrace the systems that you are implementing. You know, so if you have a prospect who wants to be your client, but they don't want to go on the particular solutions that you want to run them on, you've got a couple of choices that you can give them. You can advise them that if they still want to be your client, that to put them on a different solution and things like that, excuse me, that if they still want to be your client, actually they're going to have to pay X more for the service, because the reporting on the data may not be efficient. Month end, year end, and so on will take longer. So you can offer them that, and then they can choose whether they want to sign up and pay more, or you can actually say, well, thank you very much, you're not the client for us, and wish them well with whoever they choose to go on and have a relationship with. And it's the same with, look at your client, and I do say this, look at your clients who you have got right now, you know, and have you got clients who are giving you a bit of a headache? You know,
absolutely.
You know,
Debbie, if you don't mind, I'll just butt in there. In terms of MTD here, you know, there's lots of firms that if they carry on serving their clients in the way that the clients currently provide information and the firm processes it, they need to have those hard conversations, as you say, that there's a different price, and actually there may come a point where it's actually so inefficient that the firm is actually unable to serve them well, because it's to the detriment of everybody else.
Mm-hmm. So don't be afraid of letting those ones go, because they're holding you back.
Yeah.
You know? And it is strong, and it's a really strong message to put out there. And it's like, oh, really? It's like, yeah, let them go. And because in letting them go, you will get the clients, you know, the right ones will come to you. You know, you will find your tribe. You know, it's like finding your vibe defines your tribe. So you will get the right ones coming with you. One of the biggest impacts that I've found with working with some of the really great advisors over the last year is it really does only take 5 minutes to make a big difference. And what Spotlight will enable you to do is it will enable, you know, get that right information delivered at the right time. And you'll be able to do that because you are having these great conversations with your clients. And that is just fundamental for any business owner. You guys yourself, you know, when you're thinking about what you want to do within your practice, you know, how many times I've got, oh God, if I knew that then, you know, so having that right information at the right time, it's clear, and it doesn't always have to be an hour-long meeting. You know, that's the other thing. And this comes back to this thing about time. You know, if you can give someone fundamental value in 5 minutes, that's a massive, massive thing. So again, it's this change in mindset. that
Absolutely.
it's got to take me an hour to get to the nub of the point. And I'm just conscious thinking about time, that where we're at with it. So
no, absolutely. And you know, I've shared this with Debbie and others in the past that, you know, this mythical character called David charged £500 for under an hour's work back in 1987, and it was all about the demonstrating value. And it was to a member of my family, and who then complained about the bill. And my father just said to him, just pay the bill, because you wouldn't have bought that business without that input. So if you're able to demonstrate that week in, week out, month in, month out, you will be an invaluable member of your client's team. And that's really where you should be aiming to be, that you're just an extension of that team.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, you know, we want you to be in a position where, you know, well, I had it. One of our clients, they said they've got to the point where their clients are ringing them up going, do I buy this car or not? You know, they're genuinely asking the accountant, their account, what I now call them their business advisor. They are asking them always, like, is this or this? You know, that one or that one, can I do this? And because you've got the numbers, and because they trust you, and you can give that advice based on the facts, you know, that's where you can be. Just to think about, you know, giving it the 5 minutes of value as well. These are some areas. These are just our dashboards that you can create in Spotlight. So you can do, you know, a very simple 3 KPIs: revenue, profit, and cash. Again, just giving that to your clients, especially pending, you know, if they're quite new and they don't have a lot of financial history, you can share this with them. Then we can move into a much more dynamic dashboard where you can, you know, have 6 tiles on the screen. And again, this one is lending it more to much more visuals and getting the clients to see their information in a much more visual format. You know, so nail the numbers and get those clients to help you understand, you know, what works for them. You know, I've also had it where, you know, accountants have gone, that works for me. Okay, but your client isn't an accountant. So really help to understand them. And because these are really quick, we've got the templates already there, because you can drag and drop and do, you know, enhance on the templates that are already there and save them for each of the individual clients. That's where it also gives you the flexibility. There you go.
Yeah, for those that are able to stay, I think we'll stay on for about another 5 minutes, so we don't rush the last part of the presentation. So obviously for those who have to leave, yeah, that's fine. The recording will be on anyway, but I didn't want to stop. Sorry, Debbie, to stop you.
No, that's fine. Thank you. I hope you all can stay. I hope you're enjoying it. I'm loving like, because I just get so excited about working with accountants. I really, really do, and I love the power of influence that you can actually do. My dad, when he had his garage, and his accountant used to come round, and me and my sister used to have to get sent upstairs once a month. Michael would be coming round, go upstairs, and it'd be all the ledger books and everything like that. I just think, how, like you said, what difference it would have been if my dad had had a cloud system and he'd been running his garage on the cloud. It would have been like phenomenal. Yep. So it is, I just love it, and I love what you guys absolutely have the power to do, and I love working with you and hearing these stories. And this is an example. You know, the other day we used the Spotlight to do a bank projection within forecasting. 5 hours, within 3 hours, we had the bank approved over 1 million in financing. That's, you know, phenomenal. It's like, that is a major difference. And, you know, you're helping people actually sleep better at night, because you're being able to give them this, you know, information in a way that they understand. They can make massive differences to their families. It's just great. I love getting up in the morning and working with accountants. It's just, yeah.
But I think it just demonstrates the power of the cloud and the way that technology allows us to get clean data into the accounting system and then use that data in a really dynamic way.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we've touched on it before, and this is like now. So there are those were our dashboards that I was showing you before. So it's really clean and concise and a nice one pager. And then if you want to go into more things like the detailed management report, and the client might be receiving this on a monthly basis, or they may be looking to receive it on a quarterly basis. It's like, look, at the end of the day, we all know Making Tax Digital is coming. So that means that, you know, we were saying your relationship is changing. So what we want to do is give you that focus and, you know, get the team out of the trenches of the data, look at ways that they can scale the delivery, explore the opportunities to outsource and working with, you know, trusted people like yourself who have got teams of bookkeepers who will import the data. And then your team can actually just start going out and having these great conversations, you know, to seamlessly help their clients grow their businesses. You know, what do you want to look at? Is it the KPIs? What SLAs do you want to do again? We can help you set algorithms, you know, to get the right turnaround in the numbers, you know, so have that. So it's like, you know, within X working days of the month, then we're going to get this information pushed through into Spotlight. So everyone's knowing when to expect it. You know, like I say, I order something, it's the end of the month, I'm going to get a Spotlight report, I'm going to get a call from my accountant on an X day. They're used to this now, track, trend and pattern.
Just, well, I've got a question come in, okay. Debbie. Spotlight, does it only work with cloud software, or does it work with non-cloud software?
You can import data in from Excel format. We are very close to a Sage 50 integration going live imminently in the future. So yes, it is cloud. You can also, if you've got data that's coming through from a non-cloud solution, you can get that in as well. Absolutely.
Right. Great. Okay. Thank you very much. Hope that's answered your question there. So, yeah. Sorry. Keep going. Yes.
So I was going to say, you know, we've touched on this throughout the call, and this is the balance sheet analysis, and then if we have a look at here with the forecasting, so it's only as good as the information that's coming in. So, you know, a couple of days before you're going into your client meeting, you know, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but just do your due diligence for your reports. You know, you're changing the way and improving the way that you work. So, you know, I really do advise that, you know, that your data inputters and data monitors, make sure that you've got that system and process set up. The data's coming in, somebody is going to monitor it, we can flag for any anomalies, and then your bookkeepers are there to ensure everything is right and tidy, and they can get the great visuals. So what you can do as the advisor is, once you've got that report in front of you before you're going into that meeting, is that you can then actually look at that information and go, right, I spoke to Janice last month, and this was what we were talking about. Right, I can now go in 2 days' time, and I can feel confident around what we're going to talk on for her growth. So this is what we're talking about. It's, you know, having that, it's real correct data that we're talking about when we're talking about with Spotlight, and then that just helps. You know, it just increases that level of trust in your relationships with your clients. Great.
Good. Fantastic. So, I mean, change it's inevitable. Yeah. You know, people used to have horse and cart. We now have people who will be passengers going into space. But, yeah. You know, but in terms of cloud, every day, if you read what's out there, there's some change coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this is really about changing the focus of the way you and your team engage with your clients.
Yeah, and absolutely. And it's like, you know, going to the horse and cart. Henry Ford famously said, didn't he, if I asked people what they wanted, they'd have said a faster horse. So you know, it's about what we're talking about here is, you know, do speak with your clients and do develop that trust, but show them that, again, change isn't something to be feared. You know, look at those opportunities for that constant reinvestment. Discuss with your, you know, your clients about the frequency of receiving their reports and their forecasts. You know, help everybody has got to go through this change of mindset and this change of way of working. You know, and there may be, you know, let's say some clients, there may be casualties along the way, but it's keeping your focus on your North Star of what it is that you're looking to do for your business. You know, and that is fundamentally what we are here to help you with, is like, if you're going to put your flag in the sand and say, yeah, advisory is, it's where I want to be and it's what I want to do. Might not be for everybody, you know, there will be compliance houses, but if advisory is where you want to be and that is your North Star, then Spotlight is here to help you go through those changes, to support your team and also to support you as you're embracing this with your clients. So, go.
Okay, so who's up for growth? I think most people who've joined today are up for that. I would anticipate, but we're going to have a quick poll in a moment. Just, but is there anything else that you want to add there, Debbie? Or
I would just say that wherever at the end of the day, whether you want to or how long it takes to transform your business, you know, whether it takes 66 days or 1,000 days, you know, like I said before, we're here to support you to make those changes. And I would basically say that the only way to get to day 1,000 is to start today. So, you know, let's focus on doing the work and getting those, you know, the systems and processes, you know, get those expectations set right, the foundations, the implementation, the relationship, the expectations. Let's really start lighting a match under those so that we can start and help you do that fun work in and around your clients. And this is just something that I believe, this is a quote from me. So not about, who said this? Debbie Spooner. This is what you guys can do as accountants. It's about using your years of experience and your expertise to actually make a difference to lives of others. That is what you have the power to do, and that's what I get out of bed every morning, and why I love working with our Super VCFO partners and helping them make those changes within their firm. That is, it just fires me up, and I hope my passion for what I do and how I work with our partners has come across. I fundamentally believe in this, and I just get really excited about what you have the power to do.
Great. I've opened up the poll, so just a very quick one. Hopefully you found the last hour and a bit useful, and if you're not already on the journey to make more change, that you will take something out of this morning session and implement that within your firm and take your team on that journey. And it's great to see, actually. I'm just going to close the poll. 80% of the delegates who voted are going to make more of a change. So that's great. Absolutely fantastic. So
thank you. Yay! I can't wait to help you all.
Yeah. So any questions that we've not covered? You know, we haven't got too long because we appreciate that we've gone over the hour slot that you all had booked in. But if there is anything, then please let us know. In terms of if Debbie, how can people get in touch with you if they want to sort of have a conversation?
So you can get in touch with me, simply email debbie@spotlightreporting.com. So you can get in touch with me that way. You can tweet me. My Twitter is @spoons_222. You can call me direct, 07733 226953. There you go, everyone's got my phone number.
Thank you very, very much. And all of you that have stayed with us, thank you very much. Just for those that don't know what we do practice compliance outsourcing, and what we hope we can do is support you in developing your growth plans. And you know, come and talk to us. If you want to have a meeting, just go to our website. But thank you very much. We do have another webinar. Our next one's on the 9th. If you go to our website, you'll see a booking form on there in the next day or so. But thank you very much. We will send you out an email with the link for those that only could stay for part of it. But thank you again, and look forward to talking to you all at some point in the future. Thanks again.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Cheers.